Yo. I just met Bret's girlfriend, Sparks Flew. She looked. No, I'm kidding. I just dropped a crazy freestyle about how I thought D was in love with me.
But like very specific information about her that you clearly have a secret relationship.
The way she looked at me walking out the room was.
I knew her favorite movie was Moulin Rouge. I was like, that did not come up in the 5 minutes you guys talked.
Seriously, text her right now. She'll tell you it's Moulin Rouge.
Little did Bret know that we parted 10 years ago. Like he had this relationship 10 years ago.
That sounds like a POD song. Oh boy, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. My thing is like really, if I move my mic, it sounds like an old man. Like ready.
Oh wow!
Man.
Yikes! Yeah.
Little
Jesus
WD-40.
Christ.
Herky jerky.
Love it. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. You guys are here. We have Nick Callis in the studio.
Hi.
And yeah, it's gonna be a fun one, right?
It's gonna be a fun one.
It's going to be a fun one.
Does anybody have anything to talk about?
I just wanted everyone to do it.
We blew our load before the podcast. This always happens.
Yeah. Wait, we did?
Yeah.
We talked about
D
everything.
was here.
Oh yeah. My girlfriend stopped in. We were getting dinner together, so I said, "Come meet two of the fellas you haven't met."
I
Yeah,
forgot that she hadn't met you.
I met her briefly on FaceTime, and I flicked her off and told her to fuck herself and hung up on her.
Really?
Yeah, because Whitmer is a psycho about the Patriots.
Yeah, I hate them, and I think that they're a terrorist organization.
Right. Your purpose in life shouldn't come from hating a pointless sports
Well, it's
team.
not my purpose, but I
it's
mean,
close.
it does.
It's pretty
it does
close.
make me feel alive.
It's purpose adjacent. It's purpose adjacent. The amount of time Tom Brady occupies your brain space is hefty.
I will say, not often, but this week.
No. This is revisionist. This is revisionist history.
No, I mean, when he's winning the Super Bowl, I'm upset, but I'm not still upset about it.
Yes, he's so upset.
I'm not like walking right now on the way to the podcast before this going like, fucking Brady.
Isn't that crazy that some people are?
Yeah. Well,
People
that's
have
like
a visceral reaction.
That's why
to-
I get why we killed Jesus, because everybody hates Tom Brady, and he's basically our Jesus. He's perfect, right?
Well,
I mean,
Wait a minute.
I don't think that.
yeah.
I think everybody else does. If you ever listen to ESPN, it's like he's the second coming of
No,
Christ.
we don't, because we don't listen to sports talk radio.
Yeah, no.
Don't you act like that's some niche thing that I'm a loser for liking. When Christian likes wrestling, Callis likes anime, and you're from Kansas, so
You picked the lamest thing about us. Their interests in my origin.
Where does that? What's the next one though? You're like wrestling, anime. What would Bret's interest have to be for it to be like appropriately more weird?
Probably
cow tipping or something like that.
Is it indie rock? Is it what I actually
like World Series of Poker or something.
What's more obscure?
I can name you the last 18 winners of the World Series of Poker.
It's not the same since Chris Moneymaker left.
Yeah.
Dude. It's not the same.
Or like pool, but he calls it snooker.
Is that its name?
In England.
In Europe, it is.
Yeah.
And also in
God.
Asia. I was actually
Wait, billiards?
walking.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
called
pool.
snooker?
It's called snooker.
Snooker.
And it's,
Snooker.
and it's not even the same game. The table's different, and the only thing that's the same is you're hitting a ball with a stick into another ball.
What's different about the table?
The rules and like the amount of balls and the size of it, and I think there's like obstacles on the table. I think in the snooker. I think so. I don't know.
Snooker.
But yeah.
Snooker.
Obstacles. Do you need to make it harder?
There's
Like,
obstacles?
It's like already kind of hard.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's cool. There's obstacles?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, they're not like obstacles in the room. Like there's.
not-
It's not like a Tough Mudder and then also pool.
Like on the table is like Candyland and you're playing pool in Candyland. That's pretty
I
dope.
like it's mini putt putty. Like there's a clown tongue and you got to get it in the mouth.
It's like a Rube Goldberg machine.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a little leprechaun that comes out of the hole and takes your ball, and you're like, fuck.
Rube Goldberg. That's a reference that I always laugh at, but I don't think I get. Who is that?
It's those those things where the goal is to like just knock a ball into a cup, but it's in the most like convoluted possible build. So it'll be like
Okay.
a bunch of dominoes knock over like a ping pong ball that rolls down a bunch of slides.
Oh, that's a
and,
Rube
like,
Goldberg machine?
Yeah.
And that's a person who kind of invented that style, I
think
assume.
so.
That's about all I know about.
I thought
Yeah, no,
those-
but dude,
Like,
that was actually
Thanks,
great.
dude. Yeah, no, but this conversation has to end here, or I will become an idiot. That's all I
The
got.
world's preeminent Rube Goldberg podcast with Nick Callis.
I was gonna say I thought those were called gay.
Those are so cool. You don't like those?
Dude, you get a lot of views on YouTube with them now. That's
Yeah,
all.
I know.
Those are dope,
It's
dude.
insane.
Those are awesome.
They are.
Any
They're,
practical
of course,
use of dominoes?
Yeah.
I know Domino's really have no value
Dude,
whatsoever.
if I was a billionaire,
Say that
that
to
would
dudes
be
in the
my
hood.
doorbell.
Dudes in the hood play
Oh.
dominoes.
They play it different.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
How was your week, Whitmer?
Pretty good. I went out of town for a wedding. Went
That's
to
right.
Oh,
Washington
yeah, you were
State.
sending videos all week.
Yeah, it was awesome. I realized though halfway through the wedding that I looked just like Matt Foley from SNL. the down by the river. So
it's
I was drunk at the
hilarious.
wedding and I literally just started doing that on the dance floor. And my girlfriend was never more turned on by me in her life.
Wow.
Yeah, she just like she loved Chris Farley growing up, and she had a poster above his bed, and she was like, "He's the funniest guy," and then like that was the only time I've ever been funny, I guess, because she was like, "Wow."
Was it like
it-
because you
Dude, it would have
embodied the
taken
character?
me 3 seconds to figure out your girlfriend had a Chris Farley thing.
Yeah,
Because I know you.
yeah. It
Was she turned on because you embodied the character, or because you like were the life of the party?
probably
question.
the former.
Yeah.
I embodied the character.
Oh, so she doesn't give a
dude,
shit
no,
about you being social.
Women,
Yeah,
women
also-
are attracted to you having fun.
yeah. I don't think she cares about being the life of the party. It was more just I was doing the character and making her laugh with it.
Which it's kind of sad that the most popular you've ever been is when you were just doing a Chris Farley character.
I don't think I was popular at all. I think everybody was looking at me as very strange.
Oh.
Yeah, because I mean, come on, it's a wedding and everybody's decent, and all of a sudden I come by and I'm like, "You're smoking a doobie," and everybody's like, "Why is this guy here?"
You know what's pretty crazy?
was
dude,
fun.
I just don't think you were
is
doing a good impression. What's crazy?
how fun a wedding is when you're close with the people, with the family.
Yeah.
And how unfun a wedding is when you don't know. Dude, I used
Yeah.
to, like, I went to a wedding once with my ex-girlfriend. It was like one of the single worst experiences of my life. I went to my brother's wedding, maybe like the funnest time I've ever had.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh, that's true. I mean, this wedding was Sarah's good friend growing up was getting married, so I didn't know anybody there other than the people we went with, which were her friends who live in New York and who used to live in New York. So yeah, I mean, I was talking to like people in like the guys' side of the family who I never met before, and I'm just like pretending to be a guy.
Man,
and,
You're
like,
good at that, though. I've
Ugh.
seen you, like, strike up a conversation with just some dude at a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very good at that.
Took him
I don't
home.
think I am though. I feel like
No, you're so good, dude.
Like-
You take interest in, like, just people's lives and obscure...
Let's rank everyone in the room in chit chattiness. Ready, go. 1, 2. It gets tough here.
If
No.
it's,
1,
if it's
2. 1, 2.
1, 2, for
He's
sure.
saying
For
I'm-
sure.
Yeah.
For
And
the
then it's-
audio
I-
listeners, I'm one.
Yeah,
he's
sorry.
saying he's saying Bret is second.
Yes, Whitmer's
And
number
then-
1. I think I am actually number 2.
Easy.
And it's tough here.
No,
If it's
I'm
me
like negative
doing
5.
like doing a character, I could go forever.
Yeah.
But if it's actually me, you got no shot.
But Christian can suck pretty hard in like conversations like that.
I'm like pretty. We talked about this before one time. You and I are like, you're pretty amazing at like not talking to people.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I think Christian could just pull off. He's just a quiet, shy guy. Where I think Callis, if you don't know him, could be like people will be like, "Oh, this guy sucks."
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't do
Because
it.
we were talking about earlier before the podcast about like you can't just participate if you're not having fun. Like as soon as it gets to this is a chore for you, you're like, I'm gonna ruin everything.
Yeah. Oh, I will ruin everybody's time, dude.
Yeah.
I kind of want that callus to come out on this podcast.
You think it's one of those things that is funny hearing about it way after.
Yeah.
But during it, it's actually like it's
Pretty
not a good
uncomfortable.
What does it
time.
look
Yeah.
like?
I'll give you an example. I didn't
Yeah.
want to tell this story, but I might have to.
Sweet.
So, at my little brother's graduation a couple weeks ago, we're out to dinner with my family, his 2 best friends, their entire families, his girlfriend's family, like, you know, down to the younger siblings, like both parents, some grandparents, whatever. And my mom goes, "Would any of you guys like to make a speech about a toast to your time at college together?" and they're all like nervous. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then my little brother's going like, all right,
Your mom.
maybe I'll.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. Of
Is
course.
she gonna do this at our wedding?
Oh
It's-
my god, dude, I'm gonna be working so hard to just
man.
keep a lid on her, dude. Here's the thing, she's gonna be genuinely so fucking happy for you guys. She's gonna be crying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your mom is the type that would be like, let's go around the room and say what we love about Nick.
And, it's
and you're
dude,
like, I don't want to
it's-
do
no,
that.
It'll never. It's never about me. It's everybody gets a chance. Like she's very genuine with that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like, why would you make that an opportunity when I exist? Like
Yeah.
I'm not the one to give that chance to. You know what I mean?
Real quick, so when I went to Callis had you did an hour at Caroline's about a month ago or so, and I
Killed.
went to your
right.
rough show. I went to know it was great. I heard I wasn't there, but I know it was great. Anyway, I went to your after party afterward, and I was talking to your mom. Your mom is so supportive. It made me feel like I was guaranteed to fail at comedy. Like the way she was like, yeah, but it's good you're doing it, but it's a really hard path. But it's good you're doing it, but it's a really hard path.
Oh, dude,
And I was like, I think I just lost.
It's
I lost a
You're like,
chance.
did I just bomb?
It's awesome that you guys think she's supportive because I only get half that, and it's not the keep going part. Not that she's like actively rooting against me, but I get exclusively the it's very hard, Nicholas. You need to-
She walked up to my fiance and Christian's fiance and invited herself to both of our weddings.
Yeah, she did.
and I was like, yeah, sure, you can go.
Yeah,
Like,
we know that's preloaded now. That next time we're in an argument, I have to drop that on her.
dude,
So be
that's-
prepared to deal with the consequences.
So
of that.
me and Callis are in this short film, and we'll get back to the story.
I
I know
hope
we're
I-
drifting.
yeah.
But we were in the short film, and we went up to Greenwood Lake, New York, for this comedy or film festival that the movie got into, and we all had dinner beforehand. And it was Nick Callis and his older brother and his mom, and the way his older brother like kept his mom in check was just so. It overtly looks mean if you don't know the situation.
Back slaps or what was it?
No, it just hits her. No, like he had like a shot clock for basketball in his head,
Yeah.
and as soon as she got past the second sentence, he's like, "All right, wrap it up." Like, dude, like, he wouldn't, because this is the thing, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, he's being really mean to her," but. This is the thing
No,
about your
it's
mom, and I love
necessary,
your mom,
dude.
but yeah, she will go for 40 minutes if
She'll
you
go
don't
for
stop
40
her.
minutes, and it could be about something she's never heard of before. She'll just fucking let it rip.
I think
She's a strong comic. Like, she'll get on stage and she's like, I don't need material. I'm fine.
Your mom.
This guy's a neurosurgeon. I got it.
Your mom would have talked at length about Rube Goldberg.
Oh man. Oh god, dude. She'll go. But okay. So anyway,
Yeah.
so. My mom goes, does anybody want to make a toast? And then my little brother is like, maybe I guess I'll say something, whatever. I immediately stand up. Immediately. I take a fork and a glass and I just ding, 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 ding. And then I do this whole long-winded, like, bury the lead setup and then go. And then I come out of the closet. And here's the thing. I'm doing it because it's me and my older brother and my younger brother, like, staying in a hotel for the weekend. So, like, when we're together, it's just the bottom of the barrel jokes.
Yeah.
And then when we're around our friends, we know our friends get us. And so I kind of just assumed by proxy that everybody there, especially if you, like, my little brother and I are just alike. So, like, everybody there that knows him, I figure, like, all right, they get what we're doing here. But there's people there that are, like, extended family. Like, this is not the place, straight up, dude. I borderline regret this. So I come out of the closet. So the immediacy is, like, laughing. Because they're like, oh, classic Callous boys, inappropriate humor. And then everybody else at the table is like... They're like not sure if
Because
should
they
be
have to
applauding.
be. You can't
Yeah, 'cause
not
you
be cool
can't
with it.
Not support it, dude.
Yeah.
But I'm like fucking laughing as I do it. So
That's
this
so
is like
funny.
this dude's a maniac. And my mom and my grandmother were furious, still mad. I hear it all. My mom said so many amazing things. She's like, what if, Nick, you were getting married and I came to your wedding and I stood up and made a speech where I came out of the closet? Oh
be
my
like,
God.
That'd be awesome.
You need to do that, please.
Like, you don't understand comics, 'cause
No.
we would love that.
She goes, do you think that's funny? And then she started doing an impression of me doing it, and
Yeah.
it is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Mom's doing impressions. There's nothing funnier on earth.
That's great.
My
Yeah.
mom doing an impression of anyone. Funniest thing I've ever seen. Because my mom, Willa Raybould is actually the worst impressionist of all time. I can't do an impression of her.
Doing an impression of
It's so bad. Like her doing Arnold Schwarzenegger would be like, just get to the chopper. It's so, you're like, you have the most negative amounts of voice recognition skills of any person on planet Earth.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I remember this time, Callus, and this was years ago. I hope you probably do, because this was fucking insane. It was one of those nights where we just had like a show and it was fucking terrible, and we went to a diner and we just like weren't feeling funny as human beings. And we get on the subway, and then Callus just decides like, nah, I'm gonna get like one laugh tonight. So he stands up and he's like, attention, we're gonna sing a song. And I was like, okay. So I kind of like stand up. I'm like, I guess we're doing this. And then Callus just goes, koala bear jizz, koala bear jizz, ain't nothing better than koala bear jizz. Take it away, Whitmer. And I'm like, koala bear jizz. Like, yeah. And everybody's like, they look up at us with expectations of, oh, okay. And then go, really? You fucking said that?
Dude,
I wish you had
do
made
remember
$250.
Yo, that was one of those nights where, like, remember when you're in 8th grade and you're at like a sleepover and you're just like up till like 4 in the morning and you're laughing so hard.
Right.
That was one of those nights where like I maybe never laughed harder.
Yeah, that was funny. Like, none of the things we said at those shows were good, but that was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
One of my favorite things, like Callus in the subway, is like pretty amazing. Because like one time, there's 2 instances I remember. One time it was a packed subway and we were all going somewhere. I think Whitmer was there. I don't know if you were there, Bret, but it was like a bunch of comics, right?
Yeah.
So we're on the train and it's like packed, but none of us are standing by each other. So I'm on one end and Callus is on the other. And I don't know if you were even talking to me, but like, you were like, hey, Cristian, we're going to go, like, get off at 61st Street because we're going to go to Wendy's party. It's going to be pretty good. Like, they have beer. Like, it was just too long of a conversation. And, like, everybody else, like some of the people on the train were kind of got it. But everyone else was just like looking down. Like,
if Callus wasn't here, this would sound like he died, and we were literally telling stories. Like, guys, remember when Callus said this?
Dude, the worst case scenario is if somebody on the train does get it, because I'll never stop. I'll never. If there's one person who's like, I kind of get your number, dude.
You're like, all right, I have a license to do this forever then.
I'm 1 for 50, and the other 49 hate me with a passion. I don't give a fuck.
On the subway, that's crushing.
Yeah.
That is, 1 for 50 on the subway really is like headliner Madison Square Garden level.
The only other one that was fucking this one was like genius level to me. I still think about it because it's amazing. We were sitting on the subway in like one of the cars and like we're just hanging out. And at some point, Callus just goes, "Hey, you guys know that girl like Stephanie?" And we're like, "Yeah." We're like, we sort of know he's doing a bit, and then we're sort of like playing into it. He's like, "That girl Stephanie from high school? Yeah, she's like a singer now." And we're like, what does she do? She's like, I don't know, like her name's like Lady Gaga or something. and we're like, what is she like a you know, like indie singer? He's like, no, she's like a like Radio City Musical. And people around us are looking at her like, what?
The bit was that we went to school.
Yeah, the bit was we went to school with Lady Gaga.
I don't know,
but none of you were aware.
Yeah. So so I remember I'm looking at my phone, and then the idea for the bit was that I just looked at Twitter and noticed that that Stephanie like is big now.
Yeah,
because like she like used to be a singer in high school. So I go, hey Chris, you remember that girl Stephanie from high school? And he's like, yeah, huh? And I'm like, yeah, that girl, she like used to be a singer. And then he's like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, she's like blown. She has like 75,000 followers now. And it was so believable because that's such a small number compared to Gaga's like 100 million.
Yeah.
So the people around us are like starting to look like, did these guys know Gaga?
That's
and
really...
like are just learning about it now, like post 3 or 4 huge albums.
Well, because people were like going like, do you guys go to school with her? And we're like, yeah, is she like famous or something?
I guess she's like doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I heard Jeff fucked her.
And then you're like, oh, that was her song, Poker Face?
Yeah. That was one of my favorite things ever.
So Callus is actually alive, though. He's not. We're not. This isn't a memoriam.
Yeah, but when you do die, we'll just rerun this episode.
Yeah.
In loving memory.
Isn't that funny how that like when somebody dies, Marin just like puts that episode up again?
There's something a little bit craven about that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like
It's
what
not,
happens?
It would be worse if he was reading stamps.com still. Like he was like, hey guys. But he does it in a respectful way. He like I don't know. Like, I don't know. When someone dies, you kind of want to just hear the last conversation
Right.
that he had. I mean, I don't know.
It's a bit of a memorial, but at the same time, it's like stamps.com.
But I mean, he doesn't read the ads though. He
Oh,
like,
okay.
There
so-
will be. Sorry.
No, he just
Todd Barry died.
he just releases. You asked what he. So when someone dies, if he had a conversation with them on his podcast, he just re-releases the episode. Partly because he does like a paywall, so like the top 50 podcasts are free, but the other ones
Right.
cost money. So he'll. I don't know.
There will be a podcast one day where we just like it's like the deathbed podcast, and you just find people who are on their deathbed and you just interview them the last time.
Who's dying first, boys? Let's do it. Let's go there.
Out of these
Out of
four,
us?
I mean, come on.
I mean, it's probably me just because I'm the
gotta-
oldest, right?
No, but you're so healthy.
Yeah.
And like,
It's so nice of you to say, Christian.
No.
Because that was the obvious choice.
no, and I want everyone to know to be proud of me. I didn't say anything.
I know.
I didn't.
I could feel you not saying anything.
Man,
Yeah.
man, I'm surprised.
Honestly, I could see it being for sure. Maybe
It's gonna be me.
it's like
It's
gonna be
gonna be
Cal.
me.
Well, he does have diabetes.
He does have diabetes.
But it's more my star
You're gonna
power.
no, Callis is
That'll
gonna
kill
kill
me.
himself to contribute to his star power mystique.
100%.
100%.
I actually want to ask
Callis,
you
when
guys
he
that.
does these stories on the subway, he goes, "I can't wait for the story to be told
Oh,
in
dude,
3 years."
easily.
That's why he's doing it. You're
Everything
doing
I
it.
do is me in heaven or wherever I end up with God or the devil watching a VHS of my life, going, "Wasn't that great?"
Yeah. And God is like, I'm just gonna fast forward. I mean, you talked about Stephanie for 45 minutes. I got the bit.
But I want to ask you guys because we saw, I think it was like in the last year, like Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, and then Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what was the lead singer of the grunge band who killed himself too?
Chris,
Chris Cornell.
yeah.
So in the last like that's probably 2 or 3 years, like 4. And I want to know, like, because I don't want to like trivialize obviously depression or anything, but when that person is about to hang themselves, they have to know what's gonna. They have to. The thought has to cross their mind to be like, "Yo, Twitter's gonna blow up after this." You know what I mean? That has to cross their mind, no matter how sad they are, to be
Yeah.
like, "Bro, this is gonna
I
be
think
huge."
you're right. I think all death hoaxes are started by the person who allegedly died. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
When there's a death hoax,
Oh, yeah.
I think the person who allegedly died started it so they
Yeah.
could get some of that, like, oh, let's see how Twitter takes it.
Did you see the Henry Winkler one?
Henry Winkler?
No.
Fonz?
Yeah, he's alive. Some like conservative news, it was like some weird generic name like that, post Henry Winkler dead at 78, but
Yeah.
it was literally, the headline was known Trump supporter Henry
Oh my
Winkler
God.
dead at 78, and he's the liberal guy.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't know who decided to do a death hoax and kind of like fuck with this guy's politics
I
in
like
one
that-
joke, but it
Yeah.
kind of made me laugh because as soon as I read known Trump supporter dead at 78
Known.
on Henry Winkler, I go, there's no way that's going to be the obituary. It's going to be the Fonz. It's going to be celebrated actor. It's not going to be, even in this
Dude.
climate, it's not going to be like known Trump supporter
a
Henry
journalist-
Also,
Winkler.
you hear that and you're like, I guess I'm out of the loop politically.
Yeah, like,
As a journalist, you should not be allowed to post an article title that you would not say to that person's mom about them.
That's a good.
But some of these journalists don't give a fuck, and they would look Henry Winkler's
Oh,
mom in the
dude.
face
They're
and
also-
go,
I think we have to
known
s-
Trump supporter.
I think we also have to stop calling them journalists because they don't get that credit anymore. Because there's not any journalism going on. There's no investigating.
That's
no,
how a lot of people feel about comedy on Netflix. you know what I mean?
Probably fair too. Guys before this, he was like, "Hey, did you see that special on HBO? They just gave a Saint Bernard 30-minute special on it. It's literally like they're giving specials to dogs now."
And that's one of the better ones.
That's what I said. I was like, not bad.
It's like,
Pretty
ah.
good.
Dude,
I think
everyone
this-
has a stand-up special now.
Except this is how bad we are. Everyone's
Not
getting
us.
up. But this is, I think like the post 2012, 2015 post, whatever that is. Not that that's a year to post, but it's like the obliteration of authority in any field, because anyone
Yeah.
can write that they're that anywhere.
Yeah.
And no one can just say otherwise. You
Yeah.
can I mean, on my Twitter, I say my Twitter says I'm the 2018 AVN Newcomer of the Year, and no one can
no one can dispute it.
Dude, you're the fucking man.
That's
dude.
so funny.
That is so
I'm
goddamn
pretty happy about it. It's a big deal.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
My mom asked me what that meant, and I didn't have a response. I go, it's a comedy thing.
Yeah, I just don't. There's no like.
Don't Google it though, Mom. Do not look that
I
up.
loved. How did you spell cummer?
You know what's genuinely very disappointing about that? They don't spell cummer,
Oh, really?
and you're like, I thought these porn guys were very tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
They
come
spell
on.
it cummer like
They're
C-O-M-E-R.
very
Yeah, you can't make a movie
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Busty Cops and then not spell cum wrong.
That's a movie?
In the award. Yeah, there's like 8 of them.
That one
I'm not
was
even kidding.
That was top of mind for you, huh?
Yeah, well, it was a popular one growing up.
Did you guys pass along DVDs on the mountain? Half
we
joking,
didn't have
half serious.
electricity, you douchebag. We had magazines and we read erotica. No,
DVD covers was enough.
yeah, man.
Dude, you're so right. You're
I
so
can-
right.
At one point, there was.
Can everyone go around the room? I think this might be fun and say either first time you masturbated or first episode of watching porn.
Okay.
Yeah. Does anyone want to start?
I remember there was some website that had a bunch of funny shit on it. That,
E-Bombs World.
No, it wasn't though because
Volleyball?
we
Do you remember
were
that
talking
big
about
boob
this last time.
volleyball?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this
Yeah, we
several
talked about
times
this at least twice
on the podcast.
He's like, oh, big boobs volleyball,
It's
E-Bombs
for-
World, big boobs volleyball.
That we figured out what my fucking wrestling anime E-Bombs World big boob volleyball.
No, it was
It's a
like
thing.
It was like a website before like most websites. It was one of the first, and it would basically be, and this is how stupid it was. It would just be pictures, and there'd be a title of a picture, and then you'd click on it, and it would be a funny picture. And that's all it was. It wasn't video. It was just you were laughing at a picture, like the way memes are today.
Wow.
Except it was just a funny picture, like of a guy, getting hit by a bus or something, but in a weird way.
Funny. That's
just
the,
hilarious.
The hilarious picture of a guy getting hit by a bus.
I was scrolling through, and we were clicking on pictures and all laughing.
Psychopath.
No, I remember that though. Is that you don't know what you're gonna get
Yeah,
really?
and
Yeah.
you click on it, and like that's kind of the way a punchline is. It's
Right.
surprised you something will pop up. So we were going through, and we click on one, and it was it said like Britney Spears or something, and it opened up, and it was literally like a naked woman, like completely spread eagle, and I've never really seen that picture before, and I just remember going like, wow, she's really pretty. And that's like that was like the first one that like when everybody left, I was like, all right, I'm going back to that website, and it was just that still image of, and it wasn't Britney Spears, it was a woman who looked barely like her, but she was really hot. I remember that was like the first time. That was
You
like
saw-
dial-up internet. It was like
Oh, yeah.
family computer. It was like wait till everybody leaves.
No
like,
phone calls during when someone was
Yeah.
online.
Yeah.
We had that in our
Yeah.
era. Yeah,
Yeah.
that happened when you were in your 30s.
But isn't it funny
Christian.
that being on the isn't it funny that being on the computer at one point was like a family event? We would all gather around the computer to look at shit. Like,
Dude,
I
me
know,
and
so
my little
weird.
brother
Yeah.
used to just Google image. Like, I didn't even know. I thought Google Image was a website.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I asked my older brother, how do I see pictures of Dragon Ball Z? So he said,
Yeah.
you have to Google image it. So it took me forever to figure out how to get to Google Images. But then me and my little brother would just look up pictures of Dragon Ball Z for like hours, dude.
Yeah.
Just like look at
Just
different
that-
pictures.
What did it? Was it a grid? Because now we have the grid, and you scroll, and it's so perfectly as streamlined as it gets.
Yeah.
What did it used to look like?
It was a grid, but it was more, even almost more streamlined in that like every image was the same size.
That's
and it was also
right.
like way less. It was like 3
Yeah.
or 4 per row rather than like 8 or 9.
How did you get to Google Image? Do you remember? Because you didn't know.
Dude, I
like there was
couldn't-
no search engine. Google
Right,
is the
right.
portal to the internet.
I think
or Bing.
I think I accidentally got or figured out to get on Google at some point, and then searched, and then kind of stumbled through eventually. But like, I remember that being a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
To this day, I still don't know what I'm feeling lucky is on Google. Do they still have that?
Yeah.
I've seen it, but
I
I don't
actually-
You
know.
haven't tried it. You didn't. You never felt lucky.
I'm like, they can get rid of that, can't they?
I remember too, when I was like in 5th grade, I stayed at my friend George Kerr's house, and in his basement, his dad just had all of these Playboys and Hustlers and stuff.
Yep.
And I remember George was like, "Let's go to the basement," and I'm like, "Okay." We're in the basement, and by the way, I also had I still have asthma, but back then it was really bad, and I had to I went to the hospital for like a week. It was really bad. So like anytime I was exposed to like dust and a base,
Yeah.
I would start wheezing and get really bad. But I'm sitting in this basement and then looking at these porn
Wheezing.
magazines, and I'm like so excited. I don't care that I'm dying of an asthma attack. I'm like, it's worth it. And I'm just like, that was the first porn I've ever seen. Man, I was so excited. A little fucking 5th grade boner. It was awesome.
I Google imaged lesbians. Just lesbians.
Did Hillary
Yeah.
Clinton come up?
The mountain comes out.
I'll never forget this. It was just a picture of 3 girls who, in retrospect, definitely not lesbians, just topless, and I printed it out. And I just had it with me, and I would just jerk off to it.
Yeah,
That's
this
hilarious.
that print.
Tricolor printing.
That printing out of it must have been the most high adrenaline
Oh my
moment.
god,
of your
dude! It
life.
was like
It was
Mission
like
Impossible.
And you're like,
No lock on my brother's
Yeah, I know.
bedroom door, just waiting for my mom to come in.
Was it
Nicholas?
was it a color?
color photo?
It was a
dude.
color printer.
Yeah.
My
Wow.
first printer wasn't a colored printer. It was
Yeah.
all black and white. It was like they weren't out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
yeah, Christian's first printer was the printing press. It's such a bad old joke, but I gotta deflect all my bad fat jokes to really. I gotta get my bad jokes out. There's about 13 of them per
Yeah.
podcast. I think I've had the most bombed jokes on this podcast. By the way,
Should I
there's
bring
been a
back this-
couple I've said where you guys both make me sit in such silence that I feel shame days later. Like I'll think about it and I'll be like, why do they record with me?
Speaking of which, you know what's an obligation that we have as comedians that other jobs don't have, which is a weird one, that when other people make jokes to us, we have to dignify them. Like we have to go, maybe I'll use it if I ever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, dude,
I'll
have you ever just
think
let
about
somebody
that.
sit in that? They'll
Not
die.
anymore. Not anymore.
No.
It just makes you look like too much of a dick.
Right, because if you sit in there and you go,
You go, yeah.
uh-huh.
No, and they try to explain. No, but like I
Right.
don't think you get it. No,
The
no.
fastest way out is to laugh and turn your head.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good.
But do you know
That's
how
good.
good of people that makes us to
Oh,
do
man.
that to them? Like, when you think about how terrible it makes us feel, that we would never let them know how bad that makes us feel, and we just go,
I know.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
great."
we're awesome.
Yeah, we're
Have
great
you ever
people.
have
Great
you ever had
humans.
like somebody close to you or around you like watch your set and then like afterwards, maybe a week or something later, go like, I think I want to do it.
Dude.
Oh no, I
Really?
haven't.
Maybe not
Well, I've had
direct
my-
correlation to what, like they didn't watch it with me, but a lot of dudes I went to high school with have either like in the time right after high school or during high school even or now will message me and be like, hey, I'm thinking about starting stand up or da-da-da-da.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They all last like a week or two.
Yeah.
They do it.
Because
That's
I'm,
impressive.
dude, I'm not the one. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, don't let me inspire you. You'll die out here. Like, don't be inspired by me, bro.
Yeah. I don't know if that's an area thing because I will say, pretty much like all of my friends from back home, me doing stand up, they're like, dude, I could never do that. I don't know if it's a Northeast thing that they see you.
I'm so
and they
good
are-
at it. It looks really easy
Yeah.
because of how well I do
Yeah.
it.
And
So
you
they
read out of a
go-
joke book, so like they're
Well,
like,
I think
oh,
it's like, you know when you watch Kobe Bryant play basketball and you're like, he's so good that he's so good at it that it must be easy to perform because
Yeah.
of the ease with which he does it
For
is so
sure.
incredibly. So I think when people see me do stand up, they it's the same thing. Where they go, oh, it must be really easy because look how good he is.
Every
Yeah,
time I
right.
watched Kobe or ever watched Kobe, I was like, I don't know how this guy does this. This is the most incredible basketball player I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they say like you make it look easy. That's sort of with me in stand up. The Kobe of comedy is there's a documentary coming out.
About you.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
called
I
the Kobe
like
of comedy.
the Kobe of comedy.
Yeah.
I was
It's
at
called
this-
The Callous Story, The Kobe of Comedy, and then another colon, Callous is still alive. And then another colon, The Greatest Alive.
I was at the wedding this weekend, and this guy was just hammered from the beginning. And by the way, I saw him by chance the day before, and he was hammered then.
Oh man.
Oh,
But
that's
he
a good
was
sign.
he was this kind of tall, skinny guy. And his name was Rance. And
Yeah. Dude, you tell stories where the people in the story are named something that is for you to get mad at.
yeah.
I don't think you have any stories that don't start with the name you hate.
Yeah.
I think even if someone named Andrew annoys you, you're like, this fucking guy named Coriander. Just because I think it gives you more hate to pile on
right.
to whatever he did. Fucking
That-
abacus.
That guy's listening to this podcast. He's like, my name's Bill. I don't.
Yeah, this guy Ludens gave me $100,000.
Man. So this guy, he's shit faced.
Rance is his name?
Yeah, Rance.
R-N-C-E.
I would assume C. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We started calling him Ranch after a while. But,
Not gonna make a fat joke. Go ahead.
This dude was shit faced, but he found out I did stand up. Which, by the way, I saw a comedian like post a joke on Twitter about this guy found out I did stand up. It just means we told him.
Yeah,
It wasn't like some journalist comes up. He's like, "Hey, do you know this is a stand up comedian?"
Send you hats.
I told him I did comedy because people ask you where you're from at weddings and shit and what you do and everything. And this guy immediately changed to like, "Oh my god, I always wanted to do that."
This is why I drink.
And I'm just like looking at this guy. Who,
Don't tell anybody, but I named myself.
I thought it would be a good name for show business.
You know, rants. Like I rant about stuff.
But you could just see this guy who's literally acting out in regular life because he never, and he's just like, I want to do it, but he looked around, he's like, I'm too afraid. And I'm like, don't bond, like, don't talk to me like this, dude. I don't want to hear the inner fucking emotions of a man named Rance.
Dude, the inner fucking emotions of a man named Rance.
There's no way that shouldn't be a novel yesterday.
Dude.
The inner emotions of a man named Rance.
That was like Roald Dahl's last book.
Yeah.
That'll be the name of my special.
That's a call to count winning book.
Oh boy, weddings.
Yeah,
right? Crazy.
Do you ever have that thing happen where you're at just like a thing, and let's say you're actually you're being really funny with like your girlfriend's friends or whoever, and then someone reveals that you're a stand-up comedian, and it ruins that you've been funny.
Yes.
Because then it becomes a thing, and you're not just maybe
you
a
don't
person
get
being
credit
funny
for being funny.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, and then they also think like, oh, he's on, and you're like, no, I'm just trying to make things fun for hopefully all of us.
Yeah. Well, I think the way can't speak for you guys, but the way I'm funny around people who aren't comedians is very innocent. It's not like, here I go performing, like I got to do a joke about everything. It's very just in the moment comments about stuff.
Right.
So like it makes it almost seem, if that happens, that like I prepared material for this event.
Yeah,
and then it's just like, that's just ruined. Like it's
you're
just
like, no,
gross.
I just riffed on your name being Rance.
Yeah.
I didn't know beforehand.
I always equate it to like people who don't do comedy don't understand where jokes come from. Because like I've been into a situation where like I was at a bar with like friends of friends, and I'm being introduced to a bunch of people I never met before, and they're like, "Oh, Nick does comedy," and then they're like, "Oh yeah, be careful what he's gonna put in your act," and like that terrible thing. But this guy like literally he's at the bar and he like sits down at the stool and then falls over, and this guy's like, "Oh my god, are you gonna talk about that?" And I'm like, you just don't understand comedy. Like you wouldn't ever go on stage and be like, so I was at a bar and this drunk dude fell? Bro,
Christian has the best thing for this.
What are you talking about?
Christian's
I know what you
response
mean.
to that.
I always say, I'm not going to make fun of the thing you know about yourself.
You said you were like, if I make fun of you, it's not going to be something you know about yourself.
That's so funny.
When we think of a joke or not, it literally no one else is noticing it.
Right.
No one else notices, because if it was obvious, the joke would suck.
Dude, I kind of liken it to, I hate when people, if I'm at a party or whatever and I'm goofing around, and like that feeling when you're like kind of killing, right?
Sure.
For the people there. I hate when they know that I'm a comedian, because it feels like if like Clark Kent went to a party and he started lifting really heavy things, but everybody knows he's Superman. So it's like, it's not impressive. Because when I do it when no one knows like I'm a comic, dude, literally people are looking at you and they're like, yo, this is like a magic guy.
Yeah.
He just like has this thing. But they don't buy it when you're a comic because they think you're performing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's really funny.
100%. And I do want to call a timeout and mention Callis has analogized himself to two people, Kobe Bryant and Superman.
Yeah. There's more on the way. Dude, I'm the fucking man.
I know Christian and I had an interesting Christian and I had a frigging date weekend.
Yeah.
You guys went on a date?
I mean, we had a long.
You guys-
we
you
spent
guys-
a lot of
wait,
time
By
together.
the way,
Wait,
just
time
want to
out.
throw this out there. I hate when them two get together. It's the fucking worst.
I love
dude.
you guys went away for the weekend.
I feel like here's how much time we spent together. By the end of it, I knew Christian was tired of me.
No, I really wasn't.
No, it's
No, I don't-
fine,
I don't
dude. You can
think so.
say it. It's fine.
I just like
Just you're tired of me.
You
It's
just
okay.
know I don't fucking like. After a while, I just stop talking. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't care.
God, you don't even talk to your friends.
After
Yeah,
a while,
but
it's like,
weird that it happened in like the 20th minute going
Oh,
there.
dude, every phone conversation between me and Christian ends with me talking for 45 seconds too long and then me going, all right, buddy, well, I'm going to let you go. I hang up on me for him.
One too many riffs, and you're okay. Yeah.
I half-heartedly laughed at that one, so I guess
He'll
it's time for me to go.
It's the deep breath, yeah, buddy. He'll go, yeah, buddy.
yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah,
No, I just like, after a while, I just need to be like, I need
I
fucking
know.
alone time.
Yeah.
After a while, I just run out of fucking gas.
When I first started, we and Christian kind of started together in New York at the first time, and I was doing an open mic, and I went on stage and like did this joke, and I got off stage, and this terrible comedian comes up and accused me of stealing his joke, and I was so like flabbergasted by this. I was like, I've been doing this for 3 weeks, like I don't even know you. I'm like, I never steal your joke. And I remember just like needing to call somebody because I was so revved up, and I remember I called Christian, and Christian had this like energy about like. I was like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He's like, yeah, like thinking that they're an emergency because he's like, why else would you be calling me? And I told him the whole story. I remember Christian going like, oh, like I remember Christian's voice was basically like, oh, so we're this type of friend. like we're gonna okay, so you're gonna call me from time to time and tell me stuff. Okay, no, it's fine. I'm just getting ready for it. Like it was so funny, and I just remember going like,
all
man,
right, hang on, dude.
Yeah,
Just
like,
let me add
Christian-
your last name. In the
Yeah. Christian hung up the phone and went, fuck, he likes me.
Yeah, let me take off open mic and put Whitmer.
By the way, all three of you have photos in my phone for your contacts,
Oh,
just so you know.
that's all
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
oh shucks.
I believe
guess
that the
none
same-
of you have it for me.
I have a picture of a B and an R.
Yeah.
You know what?
I have a smiley face for Wimmer's the only name in my phone with an emoji and it just has a really, really happy face.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm touched. That's amazing.
Like, I feel bad because like Cals will call me and Jordan definitely calls me.
Definitely.
It's not good that like the two chattiest in our friend group, I think, directed first toward Christian.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing is like I know, but the thing is, I know Jordan's calling me because he's on the road, and he's like,
Yep.
all right, like Brett and I spent like
We've time to kill.
90 hours together, and it's like, let's call somebody else, and it's funny, like it's just funny because they'll like Brett and Jordan, because they know I'm not like much of a talker, they'll just get me talking about wrestling just because I think they need like another voice in there. Like, yeah, just go on about Stone Cold for like 45 minutes. Like we're not really listening. But if you just keep going.
No, we need new information because Jordan and I have
Yeah.
exchanged 100% of information. There's like nothing new
Yeah.
I can tell him about a
because you
thing.
guys have been together
It's like
for
taking
like
2
Yeah.
cups
Yes.
of water and just going like,
Yeah. It's like, this is the same shit. I know about his CrossFit
Yeah.
to a T.
It's like
He
it's
knows
like,
about my huge penis. What?
It's like, hey, did I tell you about that girl at the show? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I was there.
Christian, what's up with CM Punk lately?
And then I'll go. I'll be like, oh, whatever. But yeah, you know what it is? I was like thinking about it lately because I've been thinking about like how antisocial I am in a lot of respects. But like, I definitely remember having this thing where like my mom's friend Tammy would call her a lot, like too much.
You are from Florida.
But she would call her too much to the point where my mom would be like, ugh, like, fuck. Like, I just got home from work. Don't.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like, I took that as like, oh, that's how you react to your friends calling you.
Yeah. No, dude, I thought about this the other day too, about like how you grow up and you just learn subtle things.
Yeah.
And I learned that like growing up for me, like emotions were always a burden for anybody around you. Like
Yeah.
if any moment was fine, if we were all as a family, we ordered pizza or watching a movie and everything's fine. If you started being the problem, it would always be like, we were having good time until you brought up, you know what I mean? So like, I just always learned to just, no, don't burden people with your emotions. Stop doing that. Don't.
See, I find that so funny that you and I get along so well. When I was talking to Andreas about this, we're cut from very similar cloth, but the more I learn about you, which at this point feels like I know everything, but you're family life, like in terms of how you handled conflict, is very different. Like for my family, no subtext.
Yeah,
Just whatever the thing is going the fuck on all the time. We know, like everybody's just operating from exactly what the most recent drama is. Like that, if you take the milk out of the fridge, you take it out because fucking you know what I mean? It's just all in everything we do.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, it's just everybody's walking around burying everything.
And not just gold in the backyard.
We did have gold for a while. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you still do.
I don't, but yeah, I bet you someone does.
Dude, it's like my family, everything is tinged with whatever like has troubled us in the past.
Well,
like,
I've seen your fridge in your house, and it's dented. I was like, I've never seen
there's
a dented
no
fridge.
door that isn't a new door. Every door is you're going like, yo, why isn't that the same color as the rest of the wall? Because we had to fix it because she said something. But dude, my mom will do this. She'll be like,
just have a drawer of hinges.
dude, shit that isn't a secret will be a secret in my household. Just because everybody's so like intense all the time. Like my mom will be like, "There's cheese in the fridge." I'm like, "All right, all right."
Why do we have a sidebar?
I put broccoli in there, and I'm like, "All right, why? What's the problem?"
See, we just like it was to the point where I grew up, and my dad would even say like how much better it is to be low maintenance and stuff. Like he would say that out loud. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Don't ever say anything because that would be annoying. To where now I'm with Sarah, and Sarah is the type. She's never had a feeling that she didn't immediately tell me in the moment. Just constantly, she's like every feeling she's ever had in the moment she's told me about. Where I don't say anything, and then when I'm upset about something, I just shut down. And then I realize I'm way more high maintenance than anybody, because now you have to solve the puzzle. Okay, what's Nick's problem? Is he hungry? Does he want to do this? You know what I mean? And it's like I'm like a toddler where they have to figure out the fucking what's wrong with me to fix it. And
Right.
it's
Well,
like
see,
I'm just like
she's
I'm all
like a Mercedes that needs upkeep, so it's perfect all the time, and you're like an old reliable Ford that once every 6 years just breaks down completely.
$48,000 in repairs.
Just fucking kills the people driving it.
fucking holding it together for so long.
Mechanic spends like 6 hours and you just see him with fucking grease on his arm. Got it.
I just wonder, like, when someone is like, "Hey, what's wrong?" Like, I can't say what's wrong because there's a thing in me that's like,
unless it's anger about technology, or Madden.
It's weird. I can verbalize anger. That's the only emotion I can verbalize. It really is. I guess I could verbalize pleasant stuff too. I'm not like a cold bastard.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Like
See,
I'm fine
easy.
with that. But when it comes to like how I'm feeling, like when it comes to my emotions and insecurities, I'm like, ugh.
I don't know that. I think you're very good at not making your emotions somebody else's problem, but you're not unemotive. Like you will express happiness, especially for other people, in a really nice way, where you'll kind of just go like, man, that's so great. Like I wish all comedians, when they like book something or get good news, they have to go to you, because you're the only motherfucker I've ever seen enjoy somebody else's shit. You'll go, man, that's great. It's
really?
like,
But it's only for us three plus two other comedians.
Oh, that's true. Because just
true.
other comedians out there, go ahead and book some shit. I will get a text. Two people. If
Did you see this fucking idiot?
If comedian blank books some shit in that moment, two people are made known of it, and it's that guy and me. And one of them is an email from Comedy Central, and one of them is a text from Wick going, that fucking idiot guy.
It's Jordan and me that were the worst. Like I actually, speaking of when Jordan calls, you have to be ready for a Jordan call because you know it's coming in hot.
I only answer if I'm angry.
Yeah,
I don't pick up a Jordan call if shit's going well.
Jordan Rabel, man, I'm telling you, like I made a group. We were talking about a comic in the group text, and I made a joke about like how we should purposely downvote his Reddit video, and then I go like I'm getting my Jordan Rabel pettiness on, because one time, by the way, he called me. He's like, "Hey man, this guy post this thing, and I totally downvoted it." Like, he just had to tell somebody, and I just love it so much. So I have those petty emotions too. I think Jordan's a little bit more than me. But last night I made the joke about it, and he called me immediately because I could tell he was about to be like, "Dude, what the fuck is this guy's problem?" But I just like was laying in bed, and I was like, "Man, I just don't have the energy to do this right now," so I didn't answer. Sorry, Jordan, if you're listening.
It's so funny because I didn't even know, because I know Jordan calls me, but then like I didn't know he calls like the rest of you.
Oh, of
You
course.
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I talk to him like probably twice a week.
it's
Yeah.
so funny too, because it's like because I was in the car with Jordan. And then he calls up, hey, I'm going to see what Big Rig's up to. So we're on our way to a show, and he calls up Whitmer. And this is like the Friday before Memorial Day. So we're on our way to the show, and he calls up Whitmer. He's like, hey, Rig, what are you doing? He's like, just in the park. Just bought 2 beers for my lunch break. He's like, I'm kind of hoping I get arrested.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. And it made me, I was like, I wish he was here.
What is everyone doing when they call? Like when Bret calls me, he's walking either to or from a show, and he feels real good, and he just wants to kind of talk about just
That's true.
stuff.
That is true.
That's what I like. Brett
I love it.
Brett and Jordan are like
Or
that.
masturbating.
Because like Jordan will call me if he's like going from the show to the train, and then he gets on the train. All right, I gotta go, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Callus is just either driving or just around. Whitmer, we don't talk. We don't
No,
really
it's
call
so
each
funny.
other.
We're the ones who don't talk on the phone.
I know.
And it's because we both know that we're the ones who don't like to do it the most. So we're just like, we're not going to do it to each other.
Because not that
It's so weird that you guys don't call. I think it's
Yeah.
because you guys are the same guy.
Yeah, we're
A
very
little bit,
similar,
yeah.
and there's really nothing new to tell each other that
Yeah.
we can't do on this podcast or like when we see each other.
Yeah, but when we do hang out, like we'll hang out like in person, and then we'll hang out with our fiancés.
Do you guys just when
double
you see
date,
each
yeah.
other, you hand each other floppy disks of what's been going on in your lives, and then you just download them, and then you both go, ah.
Come on, you know I don't trust technology. I'm like, floppy disks. That's how they track you.
No, it's like
That is, I love double dating with Christian, and dude,
it's actually really fun.
I was hanging with
I'm so
Sarah.
jealous of this, by the way. I
It's
think
the
about it
best.
a lot.
It's
I think about it a
the
lot.
best.
You need to know right now, I'm jealous of it with my girlfriend because I know if she heard that there were double dates within our friend group going
Yeah.
on,
Well, this is what happened.
and
though.
I hadn't gotten her on
Well,
one of them.
this is what happened though, because our fiancés just became friends.
yeah.
So they talked to
Just?
each other. No,
Yeah.
no. They
Well,
I mean they
They became friends
Yeah, yeah.
outside of us.
Yeah, they became a friend, like outside of. So they text each other. They talk. So like they sometimes will be the one who are like, oh, we're going to dinner Thursday with Christian and Tosh. I'm like, all right, great. You know, like they kind of
That
set
is,
it up.
I love this. It's so heartwarming.
It was like a Saturday, and me and Sarah had stuff going on during the day, and then we had nothing to do at night. And then Natasha texts Sarah going like, hey, we're in Brooklyn, do you guys want to hang out? And I took the phone from Sarah and I was like, hey, this is Nick, we're doing it, we're hanging out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what her mindset was, because sometimes she's kind of a homebody and she doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
So I was just like, no, this is we're going somewhere.
I'm so mad.
That was funny.
I'm alone.
I'll
I
fucking
want to
were-
fucking be in it.
You were in
Dude,
LA.
I
think.
want you to go on a double date with me and my girl that I guess is somewhat your girl. I don't know. No, but I want for your first date on it with like a chick you either met at a show or Tinder or whatever. I want your first date, you to take a girl on a first date with me and my girlfriend. I just want.
I'm so down.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be a blast.
By the way, Sarah's family's from Maine. She would get along with Dee
They get
famously. We just have to get them together, and then we'll also
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
double dates.
because it's for the record. I've offered the olive branches. I've extended so
You
many
have.
invites.
You have.
Hey guys, let's
I
go
know.
bowling.
Brett is
Very
a
true.
great inviter.
Yes,
You
he
are,
is.
but you're not. It's not girlfriend activities. Like you're never gonna get
Bowling,
Sarah to go bowling.
motherfucker?
You're never gonna get Sarah to go
Yeah,
bowling.
real shit. Sarah is great, but that is a dumb notion of hers. That's
Facts.
stupid.
Because
Dude.
I barely want to bowl.
Dude, you won a bowling championship in 1989.
There's no way your body type does not have bowling shirts. Look at this body
You
type.
literally
Yeah.
invented
Just
bowling.
because I
bro.
can fit into the shirt doesn't mean I gotta be the thing.
No, it does a little
I'm sure
bit.
there's
dude.
jumpsuits that fit me, but I don't have to be a fucking whatever jumpsuit people wear. Mechanics.
We hung out with Brett and Dee.
It was
like
great.
very
Is
early on.
everybody in the group have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and Dre
Except-
has a girlfriend now
yeah.
too.
Dre
Oh,
even
yeah,
has
he
a
does.
But
girlfriend.
we'll never meet
I'm
her.
the only single one.
Yeah. Dre came over. This is pretty fun. Dre came over and hung out with me and my girlfriend, and we all smoked together.
Wow,
right?
really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'd love to see Dre high.
What did
I
we
like
watch?
weird combinations of our group.
It was so
That's
fun.
the weirdest
It
one
was-
so far. Me,
actually
Andre,
is.
and my girlfriend.
It actually, and it was awesome. I think we might have watched like Doomsday Preppers with Dre.
Wow.
And Dre was like, "See, I get this."
Dude, Dre will surprise you, bro.
Yeah.
Dre
Dre's
is
the man.
such a
He's the most
unique dude.
eclectic interests.
Dude,
ever.
we were walking through Mohegan Sun because we were doing that comics thing, and we're just walking and talking. And at some point, he's just like, "Yeah, I used to ride in big like trucks,
Oh,
like
dude.
rigs."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, "How is
Yeah.
Whitmer big rig?"
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, this guy actually was a truck driver. By the way, just for people who aren't familiar with the group, Andre Thompson and Jordan Rainbow are the ones we're talking
Yeah,
about.
Jordan, my brother.
yeah, and
Andre,
Andre,
my
very
brother
funny
from
comedian.
another mother.
Yeah.
I said that intentionally, Whitey.
Yeah, he used to drive trucks and like repair trucks. He used to like fix
Yeah.
Mack trucks.
Dude,
It's
he
crazy.
also is really into Shakespeare and knows how to code.
Yeah, dude,
Does
he's
he really?
brilliant. Yeah, he's low key
And
brilliant.
I don't say that like, oh, is it surprising that he's smart? It's just surprising how random both
Yeah,
of
I
those
know.
things
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that is true. And he's a fucking world-class fighter.
Dude, he'll fuck
Oh
you
my
up. And
God.
also, bro, if you ever have like frustration with like a girlfriend or something, call Andre.
Yeah.
He's like, I grew up in a family of women. Like he just fucking
Oh,
knows
interesting.
shit.
That's true. Yeah. That's so true, man. When are we gonna get him in here?
Yeah,
man.
yeah, totally. We have
Fucking
a
love
we have a
Andre.
bunch of people we got to get in here actually.
But I did want to go back and tell the story of our weekend.
Oh yes, yes,
yeah.
Specifically,
yeah.
what we did with our Saturday.
Yeah, we
I
had
think
a
is
fun-
the most interesting thing.
yeah. Do you
We
want to
went.
go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't care.
So you guys had a show Friday night. You went to.
Show Friday.
Show
which is-
Friday.
And now, so we're setting this up. Where was the show on Friday?
In Lancaster,
Lancaster.
And it wasn't good.
it's a rough one.
It was rough.
Lancaster's usually really fun.
The only laughs, at least I got during the show, was literally yelling at the audience for not laughing.
It was
So
one of
it's
those. It was one of those ones where everybody wants to sit in the back of the room,
Ugh.
and to the point where like there's two people in the front who were phenomenal.
Yes,
they
they
were
were.
awesome.
But
they,
no
like,
one else had the energy.
But no one else had the energy,
Yeah,
and
that
to the
sucks.
point where the people in the front were like, I don't think they've ever been to a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they understood what was supposed to happen.
Right, and so.
So that was the Friday that wasn't fun. So Saturday you had to go to the Saturday show, right?
But Saturday we had a whole day together.
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
mean. So where
Yeah.
was the show Saturday night?
Baltimore.
Oh, so pretty close
just-
by.
yeah, like
so,
an hour and a half.
So to take us to Saturday, what happened
Well,
leading up to the show
first
that
off,
was so
we
much fun?
We stayed at a place called the Dutch Country Inn.
yeah.
Which was a very sweet. It was a Dutch Country motel, and it was near like an Amish area.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
this
yeah.
beautiful farmland.
Amazing.
It does smell like
You
horse
guys
shit.
went away. That's
Horse
where,
and
like, you would
buggies.
go with a woman. Like,
Horse and
you
buggies.
take your girl down. You're like, hey, let's go to the country. Let's sit at the
Yeah.
Amish country. We'll
Yeah.
be in the country together.
If I had taken Deanna there, she would have been very happy with me.
I thought her name was DeAndre.
The
Sorry, go ahead.
no. So, but one thing that made me laugh about the breakfast at the place,
Oh, man.
it was like this little motel, and they said free breakfast, and you're like, oh, cool. And I walk
Yeah.
into the room, and it's in a room where it's an ice machine,
Yeah.
and a fold-out table with just wrapped up honey buns
And muffins. Yeah.
and wrapped up honey and muffins. And I don't care that it's not a big spread.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it. This is like a super cheap motel.
Yeah.
But the innkeeper, which is an old timey word, but I don't know what to call him. The
Yeah.
innkeeper had walked in when I was in there, and he was like, "Well, you know, it would have been a bigger spread, but it's just a small room." And I was like, "I mean, that's not why it's a small spread."
He's like, we would put more food in here, but there's not.
I know.
Yeah, and don't act like you
There's
have
square footage.
I said, yeah, exactly. I don't want you to think.
Like, I didn't care, dude. You don't have to like be
Yeah.
like, I know I would have done more, but just I can't. So Christian and I, we just having whatever nice morning, just chilling, and then have so much time. So we're like, all right, let's just find like a coffee shop or something. And we're driving to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And we see Sights and Sounds Theaters.
It wasn't
It was
even.
called,
It was
right?
like a sign for a sight and sound theater. But the thing was, it was like on like a little fence or something. Like there was like a little gateway, right?
but
it
a
looked
beautiful
so,
fence.
A beautiful like fence.
Beautiful stone, not like chain link, like beautiful stone.
So I'm like, that's got to be like a nice ass like movie theater or something. Like something cool is like going on in there, because they had like this crazy driveway. So I was
Right.
like, "Do you want to go?" And he's like, "Yeah." What
have
else
nothing
we
to
got to
do.
do?
It was
So-
your idea?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
do something?
'Cause I just
I'm
wanted to-
shocked by this.
I know, because I just was like, "Well, look, it's a theater." Like,
And he
probably
almost
some cool movie shit.
Christian almost regretted doing this.
So we pull up to the thing, and
Yeah.
it's enormous. This place is huge. It's like this stone.
Dude, it looks like we drive. First off, it's a long drive into wherever this theater is, like
Yeah.
with just really nice trees around, and to the
Yeah.
left it's farms. So it's not like you just drive past the fence and there's the building. So it's a pretty long driveway,
Yeah.
and then we pull up and we see what literally looks like a palace.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it looks Taj Mahalian.
It looks like the fucking palace from Aladdin. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it actually does. I mean, I do have a photo, and we can. Yeah.
There's like a lion fountain out front, and the parking lot is huge.
And
It's
where
like a
is
parking lot.
check that out.
This is where?
It's like in Lancaster.
Yeah,
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
So you're like, what is this freaking?
What is this?
It kind of looks like a
enormous.
casino or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but yeah.
we go into the parking lot. There's like buses in the parking lot. There's all this sorts of shit. So we start getting up there, and on like the little poles, like the light poles, there's
Yeah.
like little signs for Jesus.
All it says
Yes.
is Jesus, and with a hand and
Yeah,
another
I've
hand.
actually been living here for a while. Nobody comes.
I've been doing these shows.
People think the sign is like a joke or something.
Wait, is this one of those like Bible places?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So we walk into this palace.
Yeah. And it's like Disney World. Like, you know how like when you go to Disney World, they have the music playing in the background, and it's like all dressed up.
amphitheater-y
Yeah.
in the external speakers. Yeah.
So we're in there.
Welcome to the last place on earth that you'll ever be gay.
So, and I was like, as we were walking up, we realized it was like a Jesus-y thing, and I was like, oh, we should walk in and be like, we're two homosexuals. Can we get 2 tickets for the Jesus play?
Made me laugh so hard because in what world would 2 gay men ever announce that?
We know what
at
we're doing is wrong.
at a box office. They
Yeah,
wouldn't do it
hilarious.
at Broadway. They wouldn't do it anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
No gay person refers to them. We're just a couple of homosexuals.
Can we get tickets for Aladdin? Like,
Yeah.
what?
We just a couple homos on a road trip.
Well, yeah, in the palace, it's you can see that it's basically like a theater box office.
Yes.
And so, by the way, the best smelling. It smelled like honey roasted almonds
Because
It
they
was
had
so
honey
nice.
roasted almonds.
Love that smell.
And we go up, and I was like, "Oh, there's a show." And I asked one of the ticket takers, I go, "What time's the show start?" And she goes, "It started at 11." I look at my phone; it's like 11:04.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Are this tickets still on sale?" And she goes, "Yes, they are."
I was like,
and I go,
ugh.
"Dude, we're doing it." So I walk up to the box
And I'm
office.
like, dude, fuck.
And I'm like, "Christian, come on, dude, go to
Because
the
the
show."
reality is you're going to be 2 hours in this fucking Jesus show. And I'm
Right.
like, the actual...
I see it as a story, and Christian sees it as lost time.
I think Christian
I-
goes, the first 17 minutes of this is going to be fun, and then we're in a show.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I go, the first 17 minutes of this is going to be fun, and then Christian's suffering is extra fun.
That's what I mean. It's like Brett's a dangerous dude to travel with because you never know when he's going to turn on
He's a
you.
little brother. It's little brother
I
shit.
took a Jesus turn, actually, and I was like, I really wanted to be here.
My younger brother was it's the young brother thing. You're the little brother, so
Yeah.
you aggravate the older sibling.
yeah,
so that
yeah.
just it carried on. Yeah.
Yeah, so at the ticket counter, I go, 2 tickets, and she goes, okay. And then I go, wait, how much are tickets? And then she goes, oh, well, 1 ticket is $79.
What?
And I
and-
immediately went, Because if there's one thing I know, it's
Brett-
Brett is not going to spend $79 on a joke.
My breaking point was 79. If it was 78 a ticket. No, I'm cheap as hell, so I mean, as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, goodbye.
They're like, look at this place. It's a fucking paradise. Do you
Going
think
to that
tickets are
show-
$5?
Yeah.
That would have been like the equivalent of like you walk up to Kathy Griffin to say, "Can I get a picture?" and then she wants to like spend the rest of the day with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like talk to you the whole day.
You're like, I just wanted the picture.
And the reason, there was 2 things. One reason they can have all this expensive shit is you're just like, oh, no taxes. So when you have
Yeah.
no expenses,
Yes.
all
That's a
all
great
revenue
point.
is profit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you make $1, all right, we can do anything we want with that dollar. We
Yeah.
have 0%
Yeah.
expenses.
Well,
And-
I was gonna say
No, go ahead.
the best thing about this was like Brett's like little brother prankster like was really like it's kind of ingenious because like we were like, well, we're not gonna hang out, but there's some park benches right there. Why
Well,
don't
can I
we-
interrupt you real
Yeah, go
quick?
ahead.
So you didn't mention. So we went to the side. They have the DVDs of their other shows they've had, and their
Yeah.
other shows are just other Bible characters. So there's Moses, there's Samson, there's like Ruth. I didn't even know who the fuck that was.
Yeah.
And whatever. And they have a screen
Jonah.
showing highlights from the plays.
And these are like full plays. Like
These are
with special effects.
humongous productions.
Well, yes.
Bigger than Broadway, production-wise.
With
because,
animals.
Yeah, because they have no expenses and because they have any and all space they can need. This place is huge. So the Jonah and the whale is one of the famous Bible stories, which Jonah gets eaten by a whale. They show
got the
that.
whale from Free Willy to be in it.
It was Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, they got fucking Nathan
Spare
Lane.
no- yeah.
They afforded Nathan Lane
That
and
would be
Tom
amazing.
Hanks. Tom Hanks
Yeah.
Tom Hanks wasn't even the main character. He
plays
had
a
a B
shepherd.
part. Yeah, but the whale that I wanted to see what's their whale prop, dude. It actually was like as floating above the audience, and
Yeah.
it was like, holy shit,
Dude, dead ass. If I'm there with just a day to kill before a show, I'm going to that. Like that, you guys have sold it effectively.
The $79 is where you're like, ah, man.
Yeah.
But if it was like
Feels like
50,
See,
20,
now,
I'd be
here's
like,
where
alright.
the combinations of people get interesting. Because if that's me and Bret, we're seeing that show. We're seeing that show for free, dude. We're coming in fake mustaches. We're from Sweden and we're not very accustomed to.
We pretend to be the crew. We're like,
Oh,
oh, no,
dude,
we carry the whale in.
Yeah, we go and we make our own costumes. Like we're in the show now.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm replacing you.
Yeah.
Callus is now Jonah. He's the main character. Callus is Jesus, actually.
Yeah.
The only other person you're like the role I was born to play.
If it's me and Whitmer, we don't even make it to the parking lot.
Oh,
We're like, fuck it.
we look at, we're like, what's that? I don't know. It's probably gay.
Hilarious.
And we just keep driving.
Okay, wait. What would each iteration of that be? Me and Jordan are doing push-ups in the parking lot.
You guys are working out.
Yeah.
Christian and I made it to the tickets. We saw heard the expense, left. We sneak in
We sneak
and are
in.
in the show.
Me and Bret, I buy the honey roasted peanuts. And I let him have half because I'm a good dude.
I think Whit buys the honey roasted peanuts and I see the show.
I just picture Bret talking to the lady at the box office, lying about you in some way. Just be like, "That's my cousin. He's blind, and he really likes listening to the musicals."
What would you and Jordan?
We wouldn't have gone.
Yeah.
Jordan has a way. Like we went to Boston, and I was like, "Dude, let's go into Boston. Like I've never even fucking been to the city before. Let's just fucking go." And he's just like, I don't. Like no interest.
Jordan?
Like we could
Yeah.
literally have spent the entire day in a Denny's bathroom, and he'd
Yep.
be like, "It's fine. I just need a laptop." Like
No,
like, and I'm like, no, he has no interest to see the. I
Yep.
mean, maybe because he's been before. I don't know. Just like no interest to see any of the shit.
I think Jordan is the most or least stimulus required for being entertained. I think he can just like chill and just sit there and just hang. He doesn't even need a laptop. If he
Yeah.
just had a book, his notebook,
yeah.
phone, he's
Yeah.
fine. He'll be like, we can do that from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. and then we'll go to the show.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I was like what my favorite thing to do is when I'm in a place is like walk around, check it out, go to a restaurant, have something I never had before, see shit I've never seen before, experience like the culture of it or whatever, and then do the show.
Yeah.
But Jordan is just like,
Dude, one of my favorite things is when I was doing shows in like Sacramento and San Fran and stuff, like parts that I'd never been to before, was like go into their town and just have like a little pleasantry with one
Yeah.
of the local employees.
Yeah.
Like if I could just like make some lady behind a counter just like chuckle a little bit and then I leave and that's me for her forever.
yeah.
That was a great day.
One of the best weekends when we did Philadelphia, and it was me, Dino, and Jordan.
Dino DiMartino.
Yeah, Dino.
Funny guy.
Yeah, funny guy. And me and Sarah went to Philadelphia, and we were like, let's make a trip of it. And my brother lived in Philly at the time, so like I did the show. We hung out all night Saturday night because it was a Sunday show. Sunday show was in Reading, Pennsylvania, or whatever. And then Sunday morning, I woke up. My brother met us. We walked through Philadelphia. We saw all the shit. It was like, this is what it's supposed to be. Fun show, hang out. We had oysters. It was fucking a blast.
Yeah.
And Jordan spent that entire time in a coffee shop. The entire, like, 11
You gotta
hours.
do both. You gotta like
Yeah.
go have a nice morning, go see something, come back, chill,
Yeah.
get in show mode, go
Yeah,
do the
well, Jordan's
show.
also, like, he's writing a sketch. Like, he's being productive, too. So
Yeah,
I
know,
totally
I'm
get
sure.
that. Where I'm just, like, eating oysters
So-
and nothing good coming out of it.
But so Christian and I then walk outside.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it over from here because I feel like you'd be more interesting in
Well,
telling
no,
this?
it was just funny that like because I wouldn't be able to do this, but like we're walking outside and like Brett's like, oh, let's go hang out those park benches just for a while. Let's, it's a beautiful day out. It's like just hang out.
And
So
it's a
like,
beautiful area, so
Yes.
like I'd rather be here than a coffee shop.
So we're like, yeah, let's just go hang out there for a while. So we start heading over there, and I see like a security guard, and he's sort of like eyeing me, especially. I could feel his like,
oh yeah, he's
whatever.
like black guy, black
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
black guy.
He's like, these guys are not.
I
don't
think
know
to
what they're
him,
doing.
now that because we weren't walking side by side, I think to him, I was walking and he
I
saw
was
a dark skinned guy and he's like, oh shit, this guy's about
That
to get
guy's in
mugged.
trouble.
He just goes, Bret, look out!
He just could guess my name.
So we get to the benches, and the guy stops. He's like, hey, you guys going to see the show? And then Bret immediately goes, oh yeah, we just dropped my grandmother off inside, and we're just gonna hang out here and outside
My
until she's like done.
boy, dude. My boy.
Too good of a lie for too quick. Like,
Yeah,
where
exactly.
did that come from?
That's exactly
Dude,
Where did
it.
that come
Abby
from?
Roberge and me and Bret could rob a bank. I'm sure. Dude, I can't tell you how many times me and Abby have just like gone somewhere we're not supposed to be because both of us are so ready to lie about some shit.
That's why we could get in.
We just
and
it's fun because
get
we
in the
yeah,
show.
we're-
No, the director told me I actually was getting your part.
I'll do some shit where like Casey.
You just take off the
Dude,
uniform and give it to
the
you. Like,
key-
well, if the director said it,
Dude, the key is be urgent. Use a name, even if you don't know what name it is, confidently, and be a little tiny bit angry. Like, ask me where I'm supposed to be.
Hey, where are you
Casey asked me to be back there 5 minutes ago. You're not fucking with that. You're not challenging that.
I'm
What,
like-
what if Casey is just somebody you don't know yet?
Yeah,
And now
exactly.
you look like a fucking idiot. Because Casey asked me to be back there 5 minutes ago.
the only
and
way
now-
that doesn't
Dude,
work is if they're like, I'm Casey. You're like, yeah, well, it was worth a shot.
Dude, I remember I was like 17 or 18.
I just want it real quick to interrupt. I just want the follow up them go, who's Casey? And you go, Kasem. Casey Kasem? Yes. You're going to say sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, dude. One time in high school, I went backstage at Childish Gambino just because I just like very confidently walked backstage
Yeah.
past the bouncer. Like I looked at him and I was like I acted like he was kind of in my way a little bit, and I was
Yeah.
just like, and he was like, oh, okay, I guess he's supposed
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
here.
God damn.
That's awesome.
So to finish the story,
I mean, no, it was just that was just interesting because
Oh.
if I was even trying to tell the truth, I would still fuck. I'd be like, oh, I just, I'm
what-
sorry.
What you did say to me, which made me laugh, was it was like, thank God Bret is lying about shit like this and he's not a man in a suit. Otherwise, he would be like, what was
That's
it?
amazing.
It was like,
don't remember.
if I could lie and actually hurt the world.
Yeah, like you're
You're
putting
the
like chemicals
spokesperson.
in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
fucking
but
water.
Yeah, thank God
That's-
Bret wants to see a play he doesn't want to
Yeah,
see.
exactly. Yeah, instead of
I
like
just want to sit on a picnic bench in nature. That's
just like the
all.
spokesperson for like BP after an oil spill,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, they kind of wanted the oil in the water. It's
Yeah.
kind of good for their skin.
I'd be a
Yeah.
good. I would have been an amazing lobbyist for cigarettes. Like in their heyday, I think like in the heyday of their ire, I would have. It would have been a fun challenge.
like, Jesus smoked, and they'd be like, oh,
I think you did.
it worked. Wow, that was easy.
And now it's being sold in churches. I did a better job than they thought. Yeah, but lying. Here's where we differ. You do like to steal, correct?
No.
Come on, you fucking love lying, motherfucker.
Time out.
I almost believed you.
He doesn't like to steal. He just has to sometimes.
Steals.
He doesn't enjoy it.
I remember one time being with Callis in the Village, and I think we just did a show, and then we had walked to like CVS. I wanted to get a drink, and then I walk outside, and he's like, "Dude, check it out," and he just like fucking stole an almond joy.
I would not. Dude, check it out. A fucking almond joy. That is below me.
It wasn't then.
He's like, I've moved on
And I
to
know
bigger
what
heights.
I know what you're talking about too,
Okay,
and that's
go
not
ahead.
what happened. What happened
Yeah.
was we were walking past the bodega, and I ganked a Diet Coke off the side of it. And I remember this distinctly, strictly because as I was walking by it, I could just see the dude's head turning, and it just felt cool in my mind to like flick it to myself,
Yeah.
and then just drink it in the moment. So that's what I did. And
Okay.
it
No.
was dope.
Dude, he did not go.
Yes, I did.
And then
let the record
one-handed
show.
open it.
Let the record show that's exactly what I did.
We are
And I
both
can do it again.
misremembering it. I'll grant you, it may have been a Butterfinger cooler candy bar than Almond Joy.
It was
but
not
you-
a candy bar.
You
dude.
didn't do a fucking sick.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Zach
I did. I know it was
Morris.
on. It was in Union Square. I know exactly where it was.
You know those like those those like newsstands.
Fucking liar.
They sell. You know, like the newsstands that they put there on the streets and stuff. I walked by one at like 3 a.m. I've not even been with you. It was a comic strip night. And it was lighted out. All the lights were off of it, and there was like one newspaper in the side still. And I remember grabbing it just because I had a long trade run and I wanted to like do the crossword on that. And I pull it out and I literally take a step, and this fucking dude comes out of nowhere, and he's just like, "You fucking steal from me!" Like he's like, "I'm a fucking business owner. You steal from me." I'm like, well, "I'm sorry. I thought it was for like I literally and it was you're fucking doing Aladdin tricks with your fucking you stealing fucking."
He didn't do an Aladdin trick. This is
I
what he
did.
wants. So that in
If this
three.
happened, oh sorry.
No worries.
If this happened, it happened in the cool way that I said.
Yeah. You also got a blowjob after that on the street, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how I met D. No, I'm kidding.
Jesus.
Oh man.
I remember we were shooting a sketch and we were looking for a Spider-Man mask.
Wait, can we just not tell stories about times I did crimes now?
Yeah, what's the statute of limitations on
Yeah.
these?
Yeah, can we go back to stories about
I
my
would like to
girlfriend blowing
say
cows?
that everyone here has known me since I was a teenager. Okay, these are different
true.
times.
I mean,
Fair.
No, I haven't.
Well,
haven't.
you probably haven't, but
I haven't, yeah.
God, have we known each other that long? I think so.
Yeah, dude,
We've known each other for 7 years, I think.
it's crazy.
Maybe
right?
more. Maybe coming up on 8. That's nuts, dude.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah, I've known Christian for 8.5, I think now. So you're probably like 7.5.
yeah.
I've known Bret for like
Yeah.
since we started the podcast. He's a pretty cool guy.
Because you
2
guys were
months.
doing late night at the strip. I don't know when you got past at the strip, but that's when you guys started hanging out, right?
Yeah.
And then I didn't meet
I'd have
you
to, it
until
was
I
like
met him.
2013, I think, maybe.
2012 or 2013?
Yeah, maybe it was the end of 2012, end of the beginning of 2013. It was a long time
Well, it
ago.
was I remember it was my freshman year of college.
Dope.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude.
Hmm.
Been a minute.
Yeah, and I met Bret through Jordan. I remember the first time I met you. You were
I
at
remember
the
that was one
Lantern.
of the funniest days ever. That's when I started like
Dude,
really liking
that-
you guys. That day was the best. It was.
I
We
know.
were all there. It was a picnic. It was like your first weekend back.
Yeah.
Mike Schvendeman and
Oh,
Menu
my
and Hart were
God.
there, and Mike Schvendeman
Dude.
never.
That was the first time you met him?
That was the first time I met Bret.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you remember
Oh, wow.
meeting Bret? That just
I
like
do,
almost
yeah.
brought tears to my. Remember Bret the first time you met him?
Well, the funny thing is
Ah.
I don't remember. Like, I met him as Jordan's brother who just moved here.
Yes.
I didn't know aspiring comedian. I had no idea. So I remember like 3 weeks later when they're like, "Oh, Bret's doing open mics." I go, "Oh, cool." I didn't even realize he was here to do comedy.
I don't even think you were doing, because I met you in the Lantern downstairs when they were doing the downstairs shows.
Right.
And then, like, you just said, hey, I'm Jordan's brother. I was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And then, like, but there was no, you weren't doing comedy at all. I
Yes,
don't
for
think.
sure I was, because
Really?
I had been there was in between junior and senior year I had an internship in New York, and in that time I did open mics the actual way of doing it, where
Really?
you do it 1, 2, 3, 4 times a night for like 5 days a
Yeah.
week.
you and I were doing open mics
Yes.
together
That
maybe
3
the
months?
same
Did I
week.
meet you that 3 months? In that, like, because
Wait,
so
did
I
you guys meet Bret before this picnic that I met Bret? Did you guys know him
I think
beforehand?
that was
I think
the first
we-
time we met.
Yeah.
But we were
Okay.
doing open mics like that week.
I think,
together.
yeah.
Oh, okay,
So
okay,
then when
okay,
I
okay,
moved
okay.
to New York, that barbecue that
Yeah.
Jordan hosted,
Yeah.
that was like
The best.
It was almost like the Fellowship of the Ring.
Dude.
got
Yeah.
formed.
Dude.
It really was.
Oh my god, it really was.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it was like the group was here and this was the group.
Yeah.
And it just was a weird moment of cosmic fortune that, I don't know, we all were together and it just felt good. It felt
Yeah.
right.
It was right.
I
It felt
remember
right.
Yeah.
because you were still a little shy because you didn't know us yet.
Sure.
And I remember you had a Game of Thrones book in your hand, and I don't remember the joke, but I remember I burned you for it for whatever reason in the context of it.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling a little bad about it because he's new here. Why am I making fun of him? And then when I found out you were doing comedy, I go, oh, good, like totally fine.
I remember we both knew who rapper George Watsky was.
Wow.
Which was something that like I was like, oh cool, dude has like some similar music sensibilities, but the most paramount event of that whole day was
Was Fendi?
every word
Yeah.
that came out of Mike.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know
It was the funniest
that I've
person
ever seen a
ever
person
been.
be that hysterical for that long.
Yeah.
He was Mike
brilliant.
Schwenderman was pure insanity. And Mike Schwenderman still is some of my favorite turns of phrase I've ever heard a person say. I remember one time he came home and he was drunk and he goes, "Just take a Vicodin, go to Denny's. That's what I call prom." Dude. And I was like,
my God.
I don't know if there's a funnier sentence than take a Vicodin, go to
and
Denny's.
He's the guy
That's
who,
what I call prom.
when he tries to be funny, he's not funny.
It's true.
It's just when he's him, when he's
Right.
100% him in a moment, no one is funnier than him in the world. I'm not
he's-
even joking.
He's broke good, so
Yeah.
to speak. He's now
Yeah.
a contributing member. So he's still hilarious.
yeah, of course he is.
Dude, we all have known Sven now for so long, through so many different phases of himself, that if you tell 3 Schwenderman stories, they sound like different guys.
Yeah, I know.
Remember Fit Sven when he would just run 6 miles every
Yeah,
night, come
yeah.
home, be like all Marines in the eyes, and then there was like
Therapist Sven, where he
Therapist
puts
Sven.
fucking flyers
That was
on
the
trees.
funniest story I've ever heard.
I've
Basically-
told every member of my
Yeah,
family that
basically
story.
he puts flyers on trees, and he basically it's like, "Oh, you lost? Need someone to talk to? I'm Mike Schwenderman. I'm a therapist."
No, so it's
not at all.
malpractice.
No,
And not at all.
It's
Like-
actual suable malpractice.
Yeah,
Like,
it's literally
He
yeah.
advertises that he's a therapist and then accepts cash only.
And this is the best part. So he tells me this story. He's like, this guy calls me, and he's like, we go to the park, and he's like, we went like 3 different times, and I just remember going like, what happened to him? And he goes, oh, he got better. And I was like,
No,
fuck
he
you,
got
Sven.
wise, Sven. But the
So
guy
funny.
gave him. But it's funny because like Sven was like a discount therapist where it was like $50 sessions or something. So Sven just got $150
Yeah.
from this fucking guy.
That's so funny.
Before he was like, "There's no way these are real."
Sven
Sven
said
just
that
kept
he,
it.
So funny.
he helped
Am I-
him through his divorce.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Sven would be like, my office is just under construction.
Yeah.
Mike Schwenderman, you talk about the
Talk
best.
about a lie.
We're good liars. Mike Schwenderman, he is there is no better liar.
Because
Mike,
every word he says is a lie.
Because he speaks non-truths from a void he is not like aware
Yeah.
is incorrect.
our lies can have a wink to them.
Yeah.
His lies are just there's a snake inside of his soul, and he just has to let it out in those ways. Mike Schwenderman, my first night back in New York, so I had met Schwendy over the 3 months that I visited, and then when I moved here, the first night back, dude comes home, fucking, you can smell the alcohol on him, drunk as a skunk, and the first thing he says to me is, "Hey, Bret, welcome back. You want to split a hooker?" Split a hooker? It's not a pizza. It's a fucking hooker.
Do you remember that story with the Australian girl?
Oh,
it was
my
with
God.
you, right? It was
Yeah,
with you and
yeah,
your
it was with
brother.
my
Pedro.
brother. Yeah, my brother's like girlfriend's like
That was
my friend.
amazing.
God.
Dude, I was in my like
You were there too?
Yeah, dude.
Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
met up with you guys afterwards, and you guys literally had this look on your face like
oh
you
my
won't
God.
believe what
Bro,
happened.
because that was in my phase of like I want as much trouble to occur as possible, but if it doesn't have to be me doing it, that'd be tight too. So
Alright.
like I was just egging him on the whole night.
This
and
story is going to be an
enjoying
oh
the
dear
consequence.
story because of what Mike Schwenderman does in the story.
I don't really remember it,
Oh, you don't
but-
remember it? Do you remember it with the joke?
I know
okay,
what
Kaz,
happened, but I don't remember.
we're way over time, so you finish the story about Schwenderman. We'll leave it at there. Sound good, guys?
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost.
All right,
Yeah.
and you. This is
All
the
right.
joke, by the way. Okay, this
Yeah.
one. Okay,
Just
good.
can I
Okay.
interrupt before you start? And this is 2 sentences.
Yeah.
We do need Schwenderman to die so we can have a Mike Schwenderman in memoriam episode. Go.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So Schwenderman is working on a stand-up bit at the time that, by the way, is very funny when you see it in its completion. And it was about how he has a girlfriend, or had a girlfriend at the time, who had a rape fantasy.
Which is true, actually.
Which is true.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it because he's not the kind of guy that could do that for a girl. So he was saying like, oh, what does it say about me that like my girlfriend wants me to do this thing for her, and I'm such a good guy that I can't even do that. So then like he does this whole act out of like try to rape her, right? And like he can't do it. So I guess we're walking down the street with, it's me, Christian's brother Pedro, Sven, Pedro's like girl that he's been hanging out with, and then her friend.
Yes.
So so her friend is lagging back with me and Sven.
Yeah.
And Sven is pretty drunk, ripping cigs, and just like making an ass of himself, dude.
Ripping
just
cigs.
like
That guy.
what is happening?
Don't worry about
He's just enjoying being irreverent at this girl. So she says something, and correct me where I'm wrong, because this is where it gets cloudy for me. But he starts explaining the premise of this joke to her, and he keeps saying like, "I can't rape a girl. I can't rape a girl." But he's just really hitting that R hard, dude. He's just like really hitting that word hard. And what does he say? Like something.
I remember it actually
ahead.
from the stories. This is what I heard him say to this woman. He said to her, "So my girlfriend has a rape fantasy. So I raped her." And she was just like, and she hit him.
So she slapped the
she
fuck out
slapped
of
him in
him.
the face because that was his joke where he was like, my girlfriend had a rape fantasy, so I raped her. He thought that was the funniest joke ever. To us, it's funny because you just don't say that to anybody, let alone this stranger.
Right.
And then her response
by the
was
way-
to literally hit him.
Dude, it was cooking for a minute because he just kept saying dumb shit at
Yeah.
her, and she was not having it.
Yeah.
Dude. So when he said that, she just full on just like clapped him out, and it was hard, dude.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That's just Schwendeman. I remember we played pool. Me and Schwendeman were playing pool, and Schwendeman's insanely good at pool. He's to the point where I played with him several times, and one time he's literally playing a guy talking shit who's a drug dealer, and he's like, I'm going to fucking play you right now for all the drugs in your pocket. Like, it's insane. So we're playing pool, and this... You know how like you put your quarters on the table when you're next? So this Hispanic couple in their 50s don't speak any English. They're out on a nice date night. They want to play pool. So they put their quarters up. And it just so happens you usually shoot against the same player, right? So I'm playing basically against the guy we're going. And Schved's playing against this woman who does not speak a word of English. And Mike Schwendeman is talking the fiercest shit to this woman ever. He's literally like, you're not going to fucking hit this bitch. Like, he's like, and he's hitting shots and looking at her like, yeah, like, and he was hammered. I later find him. He lost him. I'm like, I have no idea where he is. I walk on the street. He's standing on the sidewalk. There's a drug dealer trying to discreetly show him the drugs, and Mike Schwendeman was like, "That's fucking bullshit. That's not real weed. I used to sell weed. That's shit." He's like smacking out of his hands, and I'm like grabbing Schwendeman because I'm like, he's about to be murdered by drug dealers. You don't do that to a drug dealer. You don't do that. You don't walk up to a drug dealer and be like, "I'll buy weed from you," and you call that weed, pussy, and slap it out of his hands. You don't do that to a drug dealer. You fucking maniac.
He's
One time,
Russian.
Me, Keel, and
I
Sven
love Keel.
went to the cellar, and we're like just getting nachos and stuff, and like Keel and Sven are both drinking hardcore at this time, and Sven's fucked up, Keel's really fucked up, and Keel is like aggro, like he's like looking at people on the street and like wanting to fight him and shit.
Yeah.
And, like, so we sit down, and Keel starts talking about how he's like thinking about killing himself, and it's sincere, like it was pretty dark, and like whatever, he's from to my knowledge fine now and has been fine since, but it was real in that moment, and Sven is sitting there going, fucking do it. Don't be a pussy, dude. Just do it. And I
Holy
like
shit.
this is like early on in our friendship, and I'm looking at one guy being like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself, and then Sven, who I don't know that well, just being like, just get it over with. Like it's like, you know, the way I'm giving advice is like, hey man, like you should really see someone, and Sven equally as sincerely is being like, you should just do it, get it over with. You should fucking let it rip.
Oh, man.
Jeez. Oh,
Well,
dear.
shit, we got.
Let's
Oh,
end
dear,
on
it's
that
a-
Sven story.
Yeah, shit, we're way over time. I feel like we could go for 3 hours today.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
We gotta
Anyway,
cut
we got to
it.
run, guys. But so thanks
He
for
stole
listening.
my credit card and paid for that meal and tipped like 200%. And I couldn't not do it.
Oh, of course. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your day.
Peace.
Peace.